कुञ्ज विहारी गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदनन्दन व्रज जलरञ्जन यमुनतीरवनचारि यशोदनन्दन व्रज जलरञ्जन यमुनतीरवनचारि जय राधा माधव कुञ्ज विहारी गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम हरे राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। जय श्री भगवान संकीर्तन की जय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवतसेवया भगवतीरुत्तमः श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी। We are today reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 11, the general summary, chapter 5. Narada concludes his teachings to Vasudeva. Text 4. So very nice verse. दूरे हरिकथा केचिन् दूरे चाच्युत कीर्तना स्त्रियशूद्रादयश्चैव तेनुकम्प्या भवादृशाम्. Dure, far away, Harikatha, from discussion of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Hari, Kechit, many persons, Dure, far away, Cha, and Achyuta, infallible, Kirtana, glories, Striya, woman, Sudradayaha, Sudras and other fallen classes, Cha, and Eva, indeed, they, Anukampya, deserve the mercy, Avadrisham, of personalities like yourself. Translation and purport by the disciples of Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada disciples ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. There are many persons who have little opportunity to take part in discussions about the Supreme Personality of Godhead Hari, and thus it is difficult for them to chant his infallible glories. Persons such as women, Shudras, and other fallen classes always deserve the mercy of great personalities like yourself. Purport. In the previous verse, it was explained that some persons are ignorant of the glories of personality of Godhead, na bhajanti, whereas others, although aware of the Lord, ridicule him or state that the Lord is also material, avajanati. In this verse, the first class, namely the ignorant, are described as fit candidates for the mercy of a pure devotee. The word dure indicates those who have little opportunity to hear and chant the glories of the Lord. According to Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, they can be explained as Ye sadhu sangha bhagyahina, those who are bereft of association of saintly persons and pure devotees. Generally, those who are advanced in spiritual science of Krishna consciousness avoid contact with women and low-class men. In general, women are lusty, and Shudras and other low-class men are habitually addicted to materialistic habits such as smoking, drinking, and women hunting. Therefore, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu warned the sadhus or saintly persons to avoid intimate connection with women and low class men. The practical result of such a restriction is that women and lower class men are often bereft of opportunity to hear the glories of the Lord chanted by saintly persons. Thus, Sri Chamasamuni instructs the king that he should especially give his mercy to such fallen persons. So here now they are describing about mercy of Srila Prabhupada. Our spiritual master, His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada, was severely criticized in India for giving all classes of men and women the opportunity to take part in the Krishna conscious movement. Indeed, the caste Brahmanas of India and other persons concerned only with ritualistic formalities were shocked that Srila Prabhupada allowed women and persons born in low-class families to take part freely in the Vaishnava culture and even become initiated as bona fide Brahmanas. However, Srila Prabhupada could understand that in this age, practically everyone is fallen. He saw that if spiritual life were to be limited to the so-called higher classes, there would be no possibility of spreading a genuine spiritual movement all around the world. The mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is so great and the holy name of Krishna so potent that any man, woman, child, or even animal can become purified by chanting Krishna's name and taking prasadam, the sanctified remnants of Krishna's food. In Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movement, no sincere person is restricted from achieving the highest perfection of self-realization. Whereas the impersonalists and yogis tend to be selfishly concerned with their individual realization and achievement of mystic power. It has always been the custom of the Vaishnavas to be merciful to all classes of living entities. It is understood that the conversation between the Navayogendras and King Nimi took place approximately at the time of Lord Ramachandra, many hundreds of thousands of years ago. But in Bhagavad Gita, which was spoken only 5000 years ago, Lord Krishna himself also states that any person, despite his material situation of life, can become the most dear devotee of the Lord by full surrender to the lotus feet of Krishna. Therefore, the fallen people of Kali Yuga should take advantage of the special mercy of Vaishnavas and join the Krishna conscious movement to perfect their lives and go back home, back to Godhead. Yeah, the part is like speech. Om Jnanatimrandhasya Jnananjana Chakshurunmilita Yena Tasmai Shri Guru Namaha. Seeking the blessings of all the assembled devotees that we can discuss something uplifting and benefiting for all of us in the next half an hour. As Anand Bihari Prabhu rightly pointed out the mood that how do we understand that we are here to serve. So hearing Srimad Bhagavatam every day is also one way of service. Like deities, we serve them by regularly taking care of them, offering them bhoga, nicely worshipping them, decorating them, so all this stuff. And then similarly, Bhagavatam, we serve by reading and hearing. So the very fact that we are, trying to come regularly to Srimad Bhagavatam class, that itself is one way of, serving Srimad Bhagavatam. And then all the great personalities, Bhagavatam, and then it's book Bhagavatam and devotee Bhagavatam is called Bhagavata. So just by the fact that we are coming to this call, that means we are helping each other, we are assisting each other, we are serving each other, inspiring each other to read Bhagavatam every day, hear Bhagavatam every day sincerely. So the mere fact that we are Joining the call itself is a great service. And then we have to thank all those people who are facilitating this call, and Srila Prabhupada and his disciples who gave us this immense literature so that we can regularly ponder and relish the deeper insights of Srimad Bhagavatam. So, having said that, so today's verse is a very deep verse for us to ponder over. When we are practicing spiritual life, so there is always two things, achar and prachar. We practice sincerely for our advancement of spiritual life. Our advancement we practice. The very nature of the spiritual advancement is like once we are in that process, we become uh, uh, more merciful, you know, and more magnanimous. We want to share our insights with others, whatever valuable things we have. So there is something called the kripana. Kripana means miser, and then bhurida. So one is like very compassionate. So we keep on sharing with others. So one is achar, other is prachar. Achar means we practice very strictly as per the guidelines given by our acharyas. So acharya, it comes from achar. One who preaches by his own example is acharya. So acharit. So one, if he practice nicely as per the prescription or prescribed rules and regulations given by our teachers, so that is achar. So we will be able to advance uh, in the spiritual path. At the same time, once we are advancing, we feel that immense bliss and then we try to share it with others. So that is prachar. So this verse gives a delicate balance between achar and prachar. You know, so uh, so the very beginning itself, it says that so there are certain classes of people like women, certain sections of the people like who may not be, so well disposed, for spiritual advancement easily. So here it is being told in the purport also that how we have to, in general, help everybody, and then especially some select class of people who are not able to get this, spiritual knowledge easily. So there are reasons why. So it's a very interesting verse we'll start with. Just 3 chapters ago, it was mentioned 11 to 11 to 46. I'm sharing the screen. So how there are various stages of preachers. So adhikaris, Kanishta Adhikari, Madhyama Adhikari, and Uttama Adhikari. So various levels of preachers. So the person who is in the middle level, so what he does is like he distinguishes, between the people. So this is 11 to 40, 11 to 46. Very nice verse. Ishware tad adhineshu बालिशेषु द्विषत्सु च प्रेम मैत्री कृपापेक्षा यः करोति स मध्यमा. An intermediate or a second class devotee called Madhyamadhikari offers his love to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, so Ishware, Tad Adhineshu is a sincere friend to all the devotees of the Lord. Tad Adhineshu, Prema Maitri, so he is a sincere friend. Kripa, this is where today's verse is coming, shows mercy to ignorant people who are innocent. And, so this is Kripa, Ape, Prema, Maitri, Kripa, Balisheshu, Kripa. So those who are innocent, those who don't have the access to the spiritual knowledge, deeper insights. So, so he is very merciful to the person. And Dvishatsu, so who are envious, so he ignores them. Apeksha, he disregards those who are envious of Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, so this is very important. Uh, there are there are in the purport they started like this. There are two types of people who are not able to, come close the towards Krishna. So one is who don't have access to this knowledge, and other is who know but they try to ridicule. So, so here today we are speaking about the first category. So those who don't have this particular knowledge, and then there can be various reasons. So because those who have knowledge, they don't approach these people because of certain restrictions. So that is what. Here comes Achar. So when Mahaprabhu is asked, so what is Vaishnava Achar? What is the uh, behavior of a general Vaishnava? What is the characteristic? What is the trait? Different instances, different times, Mahaprabhu told different things. But once he told very nicely, Asat Sanga Tyagi Ei Vaishnavachar. So a Vaishnava is characterized by, defined by his association, what he keeps. He should refrain from uh, unhealthy association, Asat Sanga. So, and then so various places it is mentioned like satsanga. It is in general conceived that association with you know um, women, especially, uh, makes a person more entangled in this material world. Of course, the family life and things like that, so that he has limited scope for spiritual advancement. But it is said one more thing following that Tri Sangha and Stri Sangi Sangha, means those who are hankering for, those who are women hunting. So association of such people is much more dangerous. So sometimes women are just innocent, but those who are trying to do a woman hunting, so they are much more dangerous because they are exploitative in nature, and associating with them is much more dangerous. So we need to understand, this delicate balance that whom we should take association. Now, when so much restriction is there that we should not associate with such people, then comes, so this is the achar part, but the prachar part. So what about the welfare of such people? You know, so okay, we should not associate with them, but what about the welfare of such people? Some are innocent and some are really envious. So that second part will come later. So that's why people take the compassionate devotees take steps in order to help such people. So we see in our literature, um, scriptures, there are various stories. You know. So this sort of helping others, it need not be like who is a fallen person or who is a person who is poor in spiritual life. It need not be there from lower caste. It can be from any section of the society. We can start with one simple example. So there are this cowherd women of Vrindavan. They are very simple people, and by caste they are the Vaishyas, so who take care of agriculture and cow protection, Krishi, Goraksha, Vanijya. So uh, so they are Vaishyas, and their occupation is to do business and then take care of agriculture and then cow protection. So they were actually going to village, selling the products like milk, ghee, butter, all this stuff. So they were going to villages, and when they went to some villages, they meet these wives of the Brahmanas, Brahmana Patnis, and so they need a lot of ingredients for the puja or the yajna, and then of course household stuff. So they were selling this, and during that time, they were sharing the activities of Krishna, the pastimes of Krishna. So they were sharing these to the people who don't have access. Okay. So in one way, these cowherd damsels, cowherd women, so they are like in an exalted position. So they are teaching people who don't know. And then the other side are the Brahmana Patnis who are by birth, so they are in a high position compared to this, but they don't have access. So this is how, so it does not mean that a person need to be fallen or something like that. They're birthed of, Krishna consciousness, and here, so they are sharing. And the thing is, you see here, the Brahmana Patnis are like, they have open heart, so they don't have any blocks, mental blocks. So they were hearing those pastimes and they developed natural attraction towards Lord Krishna, you know. But at the same time, so they are the husbands of these, Brahmana Patnis. So those are the Yajnik Brahmanas who are very expert in doing yajna. They also have heard, about Krishna and everything, but they could not develop that particular attraction. So because they have, association towards their post position, and because of that, they got a fear from Kamsa. So if we show exhibit affection towards Krishna, maybe Kamsa will, create a problem. So this is how, innocent people and then people avajananti, they know, but they try to keep a distance. So this is a, balance. Same housewife and husband, so one is very innocent and then open for Krishna consciousness, and other knows, but still they are not open. So this is how, it can happen. And then, so always a preacher tries to share the Krishna consciousness, and then whoever are open, simple, open-hearted, so they will receive it easily. Uh, so when we are advanced in spiritual life, so it is always suggested that we try to avoid the association of, we try to avoid no, all the unhealthy association. Um, it is said, so this Srimad Bhagavatam, what we are discussing, it is a blessing of Srila Shukadeva Goswami. Uh, so this Shukadeva Goswami to Parikshit Maharaj. So this Shukadeva Goswami, how he was exhibiting this, this particular achar of maintaining a distance. He used to stay, he is a renounced person. Okay. So he used to wander, but he used to, it said, he used to stay at a Grihastha's house just the time it takes to milk a cow. So to milk a cow, maybe it will take 15 minutes or so, not more than that. Only that much time he used to stay. After that he used to go. So that means that, so he used to come only just to give association. So that figurative speech, so uh, just to give his association and then leave, accept some, welcome gesture from them and then leave. So that is how, uh, that is the achar, how to keep that particular balance. Hmm. Even we see from the pastime of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he was in Jagannath Puri during the Rath Yatra time, so the king was like Prataparudra Maharaj. So he wanted to, he was hearing from Sarvam Bhattacharya and various other people about the glories of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He genuinely wanted to meet Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he is a natural devotee. But still, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, to set an example, he said, I will not meet, the king. So the king is a Vishayi, is a materialist, and I cannot meet. So here, in this verse, it is said, Striya Vaishya Shudra. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was not even ready to meet, a king, you know. But here, Navayogindas are meeting King Nimi, So So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was setting that example that I cannot meet a materialistic person. But later devotees uh, did a trick, and then somehow they arranged for the meeting, and then um, Pratap Rudra exhibited a very high quality of surrender, so which Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appreciated and accepted. The same thing happened even when Gadadhar Pandit, he was not initially inclined to meet Pundarik Vidyanidhi. Pundarik Vidyanidhi is also from a very high aristocratic background. And then, so he was in fact, living a very luxurious life. And then when Gadadhar Pandit came, he was like, oh, why I came here? Pundarik Vidyanidhi was, so nicely dressed and then applying a lot of oil, scents, and then everything. So, so this association is not good for me, So I'm just a simple mendicant. So, but once uh, Pundarik Vidyanidhi heard the glories of Krishna, Bhagavatam shlokas, he went into an ecstasy, and then seeing that, you know, mm, uh, Gadadhar Pandit understood. Sorry, I didn't understand him properly. I was just trying to judge a book by its cover, so it's my mistake. So, and then he accepted Pundarik Vidyanidhi as his spiritual master. The same thing, uh, we just by looking at the externals, sometimes we may not understand the truth. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu, once they were traveling through a forest, and so it's a time for to take rest. So they came to know that there is a sannyasi nearby, and then we can take shelter at his ashram. So they went, and the sannyasi received them properly, and then they were happy. Okay, he's a renounced person. It suits for us to stay here. So, but after that, you know, so the sannyasi started offering him very wonderful feast. So they were like, "Oh, sannyasi, you're offering such a wonderful feast." So they were a little bit surprised. So after that, the sannyasi started offering him Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu some intoxication. And then they were bewildered. What is happening? And then they were saying, "Oh, are you ready to have more comforts? Do you like to enjoy the association of some woman?" And then, so Mahaprabhu and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu said, "What is happening here?" So they just ran from that particular place, closing their ears and then shouting, "Vishnu, Vishnu." And then they just ran and then jumped into Ganga. So it's, such a contaminating association, which uh, advanced devotees should refrain from, or else, so it will hinder in the spiritual progress. But seeing externals, he's a renounced person, sannyasi. But so achar, what is his achar? Like, what are his activities? So we have to understand. So there's always this balance that so we refrain from people, but from whom? So those who are um, practices are not that great, so we have to refrain from them, not just by having some designations or having some, by birth qualifications, but by their activities. So that's very important. But at the same time, devotees extend themselves in order to spread the Krishna consciousness. Uh, and that's important. So that is what is the first part of this. I mean, this verse is all about like we share, Krishna Katha, so that those who are innocent they get benefited. So again, we see a lot of examples from the scriptures, like recently in Bhagavad Mandal, Gaurashandra was sharing that we are discussing the pastime of Vidura coming back to Hastinapur to enlighten his brother Dhritarashtra. So Vidura already left everything. So then he has no interest in kingdom or any opulence and everything. But he came back all the way to Hastinapur only just to enlighten Dhritarashtra, his brother, on the path of self-realization. So though it is like coming back, but still he came all the way just, to be compassionate. Not sure how Dhritarashtra will receive, but he came and then he spoke some strong words which invoked some enlightenment in Dhritarashtra, and then it helped them onward. So that's how, devotees are very merciful. So they take this austerity in order to share Krishna Katha. And then similarly, we also see sometimes apparently devotees cross boundaries, like our founder Acharya's Guru, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. His Guru has instructed him, that some basic instructions he gave. So one of them is don't go to Kolkata, Maya Nagari. It is called Maya Nagari. It's like that time in 1920s. It's a developed city, sort of compared to the rest of Bengal. So mm, Shilgaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj is like very strict. Don't go to Kolkata. Hmm. So that's the initiation instruction he gave. And Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur did his most of the preaching in Kolkata itself. So it's like apparently contradicting his guru's instruction. But Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur understood the mood. So you have to preach Krishna consciousness. And Kolkata is that time the most important city. Lot of people, influential people are there. We need to preach. And then till the time we are in the temple, we are in the matha. So it is always Vrindavan. It's not different from Vrindavan and Mayapur. Mm. So that's what is the mood of, a great devotee. So he understands the subtle in between lines instruction of Shri Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj. And that's how, the movement started. Yeah. So we're all here. So he is the one, Siddhanta Thakur is the one who established that institutionalized preaching. Of course, it's a vision of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. But yeah, so that is the compassion of the great souls. Um, and then it's not easy, for those who are in renounced order or those who are mendicants to travel to places where there is very less association. It's very dangerous. It's like playing with fire. But still they try to do that because of the compassion, which is being emphasized here by the Chamasa Muni. So Chamasa Muni is giving these instructions to King Nimi. So always we have to take that, risk of, sharing Krishna consciousness with others by extending ourselves. So Srila Prabhupada also, so he was very happy in the Radha that temple in Vrindavan. He has got his quarters and everything. But still, at the age, 70 plus, he took the voyage, took the ship. And then after coming here, how much struggle he had. He had to wait in the queue to just use the restroom. So at the age of 70, so he's a Paramahamsa devotee, but still he was enduring all that. He was washing the vessels. He was cooking and then he was serving food, prasadam to everybody, and then he was washing the vessels later. After some classes, somebody came and they asked, Swamiji, can I help you? And then Shri Prabhupada said, I'm just waiting who will come and then offer me help. So, so that's the greatness of devotees. So they are very strict with themselves, but they extend a lot so that especially the innocent devotee, innocent people can, open. So it's not easy for the monks, especially to stay in a place where there are strong material vibrations. So we should be very grateful, especially when we see, any monk or any full-time person, assisting the movement. We should be very grateful. If we can help them, it's very good. Or else at least we should have that gratitude that, so they are extending a lot. They renounced everything and then they're trying to help the movement. So those who are actively doing job or engaged in daily life activities with the material world, so we should be very grateful to them and then respect them. That's the minimum thing we can do. So and then gratitude is always good. It helps the heart, uh, bhakti penetrate the heart. So these are some thoughts. So we just looked at uh, different kinds of devotees who are like, I mean, different kinds of people. the innocent people and the envious people. So today's verse focuses on innocent people, um, and then how we have to share, the Krishna consciousness with them. At the same time, there's a fine line. So there is a achar and prachar, practice and preaching. So there's a fine line. So we have to be very strict in our practices and then refrain from the association as much as possible, association of unhealthy people. But at the same time, so we should be compassionate and then try to share our Krishna Katha, our realizations with those who are innocent and then favorable. So these are some thoughts. So thank you so much for your patient hearing. Um, any any reflections or any comments?
Hare Krishna, Krishna Daya.
And
Thank you so much for class. Just one small reflection. As you were talking, I was wearing my Matchless Gifts hat. And it was like right in front of me when you were speaking. I was thinking, yeah, a true devotee like Srila Prabhupada has some compassion that they share with anybody, the matchless gift that is Krishna consciousness. And if we really want to be compassionate to the world, as Prabhupada did, that's what gets you on a boat. That's what, allows you to step your way forward. It really is such a matchless gift. So I was just really reminding that. And, that Krishna did such a thing that put that sign on that storefront, that random storefront. It just was like, Krishna was like, okay, here it is. Here you go, Prabhupada. This is what you've come to do. And yeah, and he did what you weren't supposed to do, crossing the ocean and doing all those things for us. So just always such a reminder to be so grateful to him. So thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Chinmay. Yes, because of that matchless gift, we are all in this Zoom call. So we are very grateful to Shri for the one gift brought so many people together. Yeah, yes, Karen.
Hare Krishna. Um, I'm sorry, I have to be the one to ask the question. Um, how are we supposed to kind of accept and approach the what's written about how women are lusty and they're all this stuff when like I feel like most of us, both men and women, can usually identify that the more lusty gender is not necessarily the women overall in daily experiences that we all share. So I'm just wondering how to put that into context in, I don't know, daily life and how we can, as women, feel, I don't know, like to kind of something that reflects our daily experience in spirituality as well as materiality, whatever.
Yeah. So I perfectly understand that when we are going through this, also, so it's there in the scriptures. So one thing, and then so the scriptures say these generalized statements. It's uh, so one thing like animals have less consciousness. Humans have elevated consciousness. So that is a general statement, and also so scriptures say that a man who is very much attached to woman or woman hunting. So in the next life, so they become woman, you know. So that means that, so especially, so when we say that women are more lusty, so lust means like like not just the attraction towards opposite gender, like possession of material things and then stuff like that. So scriptures often say Stree also is another name of woman in that. So Stree means expansion of material things. So that's what So in general, they'd like to have a good house and then nice comforts. So that's the nature of a woman. That does not mean that but one thing is everybody has equal scope for spiritual advancement. You know, so renunciation may not be fit for women. May not be fit. Not for everybody, but in general, man renunciation is easy for a woman. So there is a different path that does not bar them from spiritual advancement. So that's the thing. Spiritual advancement for everybody, bhakti is for everybody, but some things are not so suitable, amicable for some particular bodies. So yeah, I hope that addresses to some extent. It's a big thing, but sorry, Bhima Prabhu, I have to, I know I see your hand raised, but
Yeah, I know all about lusty women. I'm just kidding. Um, we all do, and we all know about lusty men. We will talk about this to be continued after Darshan. Cool us down a bit with the deities, with Radha Vrindavan,
Yeah.
Radha Murlidhar.
Thank you. Thank you, Krishna Daya Prabhu. Thank you, Bhima Prabhu, for the cliffhanger. We're going to have an exciting afterglow. Okay, darshan time. Cameras on, please, if you can.
Ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The lotus feet of our spiritual master are the only way by which we can obtain pure devotional service. I bow down to his lotus feet with great awe and reverence. By his grace, one can cross the ocean of material suffering and obtain the mercy of Krishna. My only wish is to have my consciousness purified by the words emanating from his lotus mouth. Attachment to his lotus feet is the perfection that fulfills all desires. He opens my darkened eyes and fills my heart with transcendental knowledge. He is my Lord, birth after birth. From him, ecstatic prema emanates. By him, ignorance is destroyed. The Vedic scriptures sing of his character. Our spiritual master is the ocean of mercy. Friend of the born, Lord of masters, devotee. O Master, you have put unto us. You give us the shade of your lotus feet. May your fame be spread all over the three worlds. We take shelter at your lotus feet. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jaya Prabhupada Jaya.
Jai Prabhupada. Hare Krishna, welcome to the Afterglow. Keep it PG-13, Bhima Prabhu.
Well, then I got nothing to say. 13, huh? 13-year-old. Okay, so I'll speak to the child that's within us. Naturally, feminine nature is going to pay more intimate attention to a beauty in the world. They are going to appreciate, or not they, but feminine nature has in it an eye for detail, an eye for emotion, an eye for ras. That's why feminine, the more feminine you are, the more you understand the value of experience and romance and stuff like that. Whereas the more masculine you are, the more you want to feel engaged and needed, respected, and missioned, like having a mission, having something to chase. Besides, of course, women. If the masculine chases the feminine, that's the wrong direction. And also, as Prabhuji said so astutely from Scripture, by nature, feminine nature is vulnerable. That's the attractive. That's one of the attractive things. Um, and that vulnerability means that she needs to be protected. And there should be someone who can protect her, whether it be her father, her husband, or her sons, or her brothers. There has to be somebody there willing to step in between her and the world, because, a flower can be delicate. I'm talking about feminine nature now. We all possess a little bit of both, and the creative heart, the creative mind has to adopt that feminine perspective sometimes. This is what it's meant by lusty. And remember, that lust is the number one prerequisite to Krishna consciousness. Lolyam, or anjana on the eye, the salve of love. That means you're seeing, you are, what's the word? You are in an eternal, constant state of limerence. That means you're falling in love, which is like the best thing in the world, in this world. So you can imagine what it's like in Krishna's world, or in Krishna consciousness, where you're willing to give your life and soul for Krishna, like Prabhupada did. And then you see various devotees in the movement giving their life and soul and heart and strength for Krishna at all times. It's a wondrous sight to see. That's the lolium, that's lusty. So let us not become flattened and monotoned in our appreciation of Krishna consciousness and all the little hidden um, all the little hidden hints, signs, and wonders that this world has to offer in regards to the beauty and the reservoir of pleasure that Krishna offers. And at the same time, always be aware of Maya, and be humble enough to understand that you also need true Purusha protection. You need Krishna's protection at all time, whether you're male or female. We are all jivas. We are all vulnerable. We are all subject to falling down. We are all subject to forgetfulness. And so that we also have to depend on that more vulnerable part of our nature to always depend on Krishna and never forget him. That's how lust can be parsed out into our daily lives. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Bhima Kaviraj. Would anyone else like to speak on that? Is Jamuna Jaya here? No, okay. There's a verse in, where is it? In the Bhagavad Gita 932, spoken by Krishna himself. Mami Partha Vyapashtriya Yepisyu Papayo Naya Striyo Vaishyas Tata Shudras. That's the famous line, Striyo Vaishyas Tata Shudras. Tepi Yanti Param Gatim. Translation: O son of Pritha, he's talking to Arjuna, those who take shelter in me, even if they are of lower birth, women, merchants, or workers, can attain the supreme destination. So Krishna basically says that being a woman or a man or any material designation, gender is a material designation, bhakti transcends that. So in terms of bhakti, it doesn't really, that applies equally to men and women. But then, Bhima Prabhu, interject, please. I need it.
It is very important to understand that besides it saying lower birth, women, and then it says women, that, there's a lot of umbrage taken to that. We also, list off the other things.
Lower birth, that's us in Kali
No,
Yuga.
yes.
Lower birth, right there.
That's what I wanted to say, is that
That's
he
our
lists off,
that's men.
he lists off other things, all of which men are.
Exactly.
Now, none of us are sages walking around, and it has
Yeah.
nothing to do with birth,
Yeah. Yeah, there are some cultural, peculiarities when it comes to culture and externals, then we consider that difference. But in terms of bhakti, in terms of chanting our rounds, reading books, it doesn't matter. Srila Prabhupada, when he was challenged by his god brothers that a woman was serving them, he said that he defended her. He said, I think she started crying or something, and then he said, I will cut throat for my female disciples. I will cut throat. And then he also said to her that, aren't you? And she said, Prabhupada, doesn't Shastra say that women are 9 times more lusty and then less intelligent and this and that? And Prabhupada looked at her and said, aren't you? You're not a woman. You're my disciple. So that's the focus. There might be some cultural considerations.
The cut your throat line was misquoted, Prabhu.
Probably, yeah. I'm less intelligent. I'm low birth. I'm in that first category.
That's one thing you don't want to misquote about who's cutting whose throat. He's not saying I will cut throat. He says I'd cut my throat for her. She'd cut her throat for me, meaning that we're willing to die to serve each other.
Yeah.
And that Prabhupada said for his disciples, he's willing to die. He did die serving us.
He didn't take that. I want to say the bad word. He didn't get into this gender discussion, and he just attacked right away. He said, "Yes, she's a woman in the female body. She's my disciple, and I don't care. Those gender considerations. Bhakti transcends all that." And then one more point before we turn the floor over to Karen. Before I got married, I lived in a room with no bed, no curtains, nothing. My socks didn't match. I could defeat anyone in an argument, in my circle of less intelligent people. But then when I got married, all of a sudden I realized that I need curtains. I need to, pair my socks. I need to get a bed and everything. And I got defeated in an argument immediately, instantly. Women are not just 9 times, they're 99 times stronger than men when it comes to emotions, and they can defeat us. Intuition, yeah, they're very subtle. They're very pure also. When I go to bed, I dream of chasing somebody or running away from someone or even killing somebody. And my wife sees Vrindavan. She sees devotees, Vrindavan temples. That's her dreams. And I know verses. I'm the one doing sadhana. So it's a very broad subject matter. And
Oh, by the way, Prabhu, the reason why they win all the arguments is because they change the subject halfway through.
they throw subjects also sometimes. Objects. Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you very much. Karen, do you feel inspired? Is that okay?
I feel like not totally satisfied with the like I did want to ask some follow-up questions, but I see that Prabhu is not here. But I do know that like more than one, if you notice who's left on this call, there's not a lot of people and there's even fewer women. And more than one,
If that helps.
what's that?
Uma Prabhu is very feminine, if that helps. So
But more than one of the women on this call texted me saying, I don't feel comfortable with this, and they left. You can see that there's not many left. And I feel like it is worth kind of having a little bit of a dialogue, especially, after this whole Vaishnavi Diksha Guru, controversy thing. And just yeah, sometimes we will hear these discussions and we will feel like not really inspired or not, it kind of shakes our faith a bit. And then we go talk in Vaishnavi circles and we ask these questions, and we have eldresses there that can kind of help to, explain things in a satisfactory way. But it doesn't really take away the fact that there are things which are pretty clearly stated in that don't reflect your material experience, like especially, even this idea of like what did he say, not renunciate, like are more material attached and not renunciate, not take into renunciation so well. That I feel like there is truth to that, but also that's like, if I'm thinking like renunciation means like I'm living on a river, a riverside and sleeping out in like the open air, like, yeah, well, the reason for that is because you're not safe as a woman, not because of other women, So I feel like, I mean, you mentioned that about protection and vulnerability and all this stuff, and I accept that and I agree with that, but yeah, I don't know, just this it seems that many much of it, the impression that I get from much of this kinds of what's written is that the fault of the lustiness is placed on, or not the fault, but the responsibility, I guess, is placed on the women, which is not really doesn't allow the entire society to evolve in a
Yeah, let us take the example of war. Let's take the example of war with men. The lust for power. The lust for power is a man's problem. Okay, the lust for control, to fill the power gap, no matter how many lives it will cost. Think about that. So we know what's up. We know what's up with lustiness. It's lust only, Arjun.
oh yeah.
The all-devouring sinful enemy of man. So we're not talking about women being like Krishna could care less for our renunciation. We have, as Prabhupada said, we have nothing to renounce. None of it is ours. So we have to view it from scripture. We have to view it from Prabhupada. We have to rise above it and transcend these ideas that I'm a woman and I'm a man. We should rather pay attention to how much power and illusion and delusion and control and pleasure that is not Krishna's pleasure. How much do I want that in this world? That's lust, separate from Krishna, at other people's expense. So we have to understand we have to lay out the words here, lust, and then we have to just say that it is true that women should feel uncomfortable with the idea that they are. But I remember talking one time when I was first a bhakta, and so we were on Harinam in New York City way back in 1980, and there were some black devotees, which is a hard thing to say. Other devotees of dark with black skin, and they were dancing along, and we were just having a grand old time down. Can't remember, Broadway or something like that. I don't think it was a Rath Yatra. I think it was just a spontaneous. And I remember some black guys coming up and saying, "Hey, man, what are you doing with these white boys?" And I remember the young, beautiful black brahmachari. There were a couple of them, but came forward and he says, "We're not about that. We're not about that." And the way, just those words, "We're not about that." About our skin, and that was enough to make the guy say, "Yeah, I guess it's more than that." And so the same thing is true with woman. It's more than that. We shouldn't identify ourselves as I'm a woman in this world or I'm a man in this world. But, what can I do to serve Krishna and in what capacity and on what particular ras is it particularly attractive? So it's very important that we have to rise above these distinctions, these upadis, false designations, because that is our true problem in this world. We falsely identify with this place. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Bhima Prabhu. There's a big movement, Krishna consciousness movement, and has always been, and there will be ignorance floating in the air, offenses, ignorance, politics, misconceptions, but that's not an impediment. We shouldn't take offense. When Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj came to Prabhupada and complained about some racism, he said that's their ignorance, but if you take that, that's your ignorance. So that's not to disregard the concerns that are there, and those should be addressed. But then also internally, we shouldn't let that become an impediment and check our progress as Vaishnavis and Vaishnavas. Right, Karen, please don't be discouraged. Srila Prabhupada spoke about this subject matter of lust when he emphasized how delicate and how powerful that energy is. That's the context in which Srila Prabhupada would say things like that. It's a very powerful energy. You have to be careful. Therefore, etiquette is there. Institute of marriage is there. Institute of brahmacharya, and those are separate things.
And remember, you don't have to throw it away. You don't have to throw lust away. It can be turned into reading fine details of Krishna's pastimes. Prabhupada said, if you're not reading Krishna's pastimes, including 10th canto, including the rasa dance, then you're going to fall prey to Maya and lust with a little L. But that he said that the Krishna's pastimes are there, the rasa dance, you don't have to, just the imagination of the beauty and the ever-expanding infinity. Not only is it eternal in the here and now, but it's infinity. It forever expands. More Radharani pleases Krishna, the more Krishna becomes beautiful and pleases Radharani, who therefore becomes more beautiful. It's out of our imagination. And all that is powered by the same energy that is Sudasattva, which is pure goodness. So there is that attraction, lust, abandonment, lust with a capital L, that yearning, that exists. There's nothing wrong with understanding that that's what our goal is, to get there, to help that out, to beautify the deities, to show it in the form of the deities by embroidering beautiful garments and making beautiful garlands and offering, offering, the five senses of man, earth, water, air, ether, fire, thought, offering those things to Krishna. This is our movement is diffused with intimate um, pathways to remembering Krishna. So it's very important not to cast despairingly. We should see it as what Prabhupada called it: this world is a perverted reflection, but it's a reflection nonetheless.
Thank you, Bhima Prabhu. Thank you. Srila Prabhupada says it takes intelligence to strike this balance between the transcendental nature of bhakti and the necessary cultural checks and balances that are there for a reason. You're not the body. It doesn't mean that you can walk into the women's bathroom and that doesn't mean that. It's there for a reason, and everything should be balanced and guided. So I will reach out to I forgot her name. Rukmini Devi, and other senior Vaishnavis, and we'll have them speak here, and I'll remember to raise a hand, because I don't know. Karen, thank you for being here, for tolerating us. We're just trying to please Srila Prabhupada by quoting Shastra and quoting Prabhupada in addressing your question. Thank you very much. Would you like to speak, please?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, in response to you had asked if I was, satisfied or something. I just wanted to say, or about the faith thing I mentioned, that I feel like it was mentioned here recently in the recent weeks, that I know also that that Krishna doesn't belong to even ISKCON. Krishna is not belonging to anyone. And so, I have, I know that, I know I see the bigger picture, and that gives me, helps me stay rooted in faith, even though maybe there are some material level discrepancies or difficulties. I'm okay with them. I feel like also the more I stick around, the more I find Vaishnavi association with Rukmini and and other ones that have been coming up on this call lately. So thank you. It's a thing. It's there, but we're still here too. So
yeah. Thank you, Karen. Thank you very much. Yeah, this world without Vaishnavis, what a sad place that would be. No curtains. Okay.
I live in a house with not really, but there's one room.
Okay.
Constant peace.
My world certainly would be a mess without Chinmay Radha. Okay. All right. So, Isaiah, Prabhu, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama. Please get ready to chant Hare Krishna loudly. Bring Annabelle there. Annabelle, Hare Krishna. Sadhvi, good morning. You're 1 hour late. It's okay. I had no idea they changed the clock today. No idea. Sorry, Sadhvi. We'll try to remember to let you know next time. Okay.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Thank you very much. Isaiah Prabhu Ki Jai, Annabelle Devidasi Ki Jai, and Karen, the supervisor, Ki Jai. Sweet. Thank you very much, dear devotees. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai, all the assembled devotees Ki Jai. Have a wonderful Sunday. Chant, dance for Krishna. feast. Annabelle, who's that? Who's that Vaishnavi? Is that Radharani?
Yeah, Radha.
Radha, sweet. Radharani, Maharani, Ki Jai. Okay, Hare Krishna.